Did it tell you guys that it's recording? Oh, there we go. Perfect. Okay. So let me share my screen. Let me figure out how to do that really quick.
It's the open share tray.
Yes, I see it. Okay. Well, can you guys see my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I got it. Okay. Let me let it do its thing really quick and load, and then I'll present. Okay. So I had the number routine. What do you notice? I thought it was a really cool one. Like once I went through like all the information about it, but I'll do like regular Cameron, and then we'll get into teacher Cameron in just a second. But so I had what do you notice? And this is like the first stage of the number routine, and it looks like presenting an image to students and asking them, what do you notice? And you give them time to look at the image and think about what they see. And this could be a picture of anything. Like you'll see in the examples I have later, like it's literally like a random picture. But you give them a second to think about it, and then they turn and talk with a partner about what they've noticed. And that could be the color that's in the image, what's in the image, how many things are in the image, all kinds of things, whatever they think of. And then I assume they come back to the class and they share what their partner was thinking to the group. So it's going to be kind of weird when we do it later since we can't really turn and talk to a partner. So I figured what we would do for this case is just share aloud our thoughts to like everybody, and then we can kind of bounce off of it and talk about it. But then I said it says after the students turn and talk, you ask open-ended questions about the image. Like examples would be, is there more than 100 things in this image? How would you organize them? And just so on and so forth. And then let's see if it'll go to the next one. So the math standard that I found that this one related to the most was NC 1 MD4, which is organize, represent, and interpret data with up to 3 categories. And this looks like asking and answering questions about the total number of data points, asking and answering questions about how many are in each category, and asking and answering questions about how many more or less there are in one category than another. And it was kind of hard to find a standard at first because I was looking through them, and a lot of them were just like adding more than one numbers, using counting to 20 and stuff. And I saw this one and I was like, I feel like that's the one that fits the most. So that's the one I chose. And then, yeah, so my goal for this number routine is oh my goodness, sorry guys, is for students to be able to look at different images presented and form big ideas about what they notice. So that would look like students learning how to look at an image and make an estimate about how many objects there are in the image, separating objects into categories if that applies, successfully answering open-ended questions about how many more or less items there are in an image or categories, and then describing to the teacher or partner what their thinking was about oh my gosh, y'all, what their thinking was about from looking at the image. So now we're going to try it. So we're going to get into teacher Cameron and my little first graders. So this is the first image. I want you to I'll give you guys a minute to look at it and just think to yourself silently about what you see.
Quick thing.
Yes.
Is the picture up completely for anyone, or is it just my computer? Oh, never mind. It's up now.
Okay. Let me know if it's not working. But yeah, so just take a minute to look at the picture and just see, like, what do you think about when you see this? What do you notice about it? All kinds of things. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you guys to share as a group. I'm going to see if I can make this a little bit bigger so I can see everybody. But sorry, just a second. We're going to share what we notice in this image. So Emma, would you go first and tell me what you notice about this image?
There's a lot of pinks and reds, and they're all nail polishes.
All nail polishes. Okay. Michaela, what did you notice about this image?
The same thing. There's a lot of pinks and reds. I like the top row because that's normally what I get when I get my nails done.
Okay.
Cute.
All right, Emily, what did you notice about it?
I noticed there were a lot of ones that look shiny, and there's only a few that are blue.
Okay. And Sierra, what did you notice about it?
I saw a lot of reds and oranges and pink.
Very cool. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you guys some questions about it. Sorry, I'm like going back and forth on my screens, but so is there less than 100 objects in this image? One of you guys can tell me what you think.
Yes.
Yes, there is less than 100 objects in this image. Okay. Michaela, how could you categorize these objects, or how would you go about categorizing these objects?
By color.
By the color? Okay. Why would you decide to categorize it that way?
Because I think it would be easier to find if you had all the pinks in one place, all the reds in one place, all the oranges, blues, greens, all that. Okay.
Emma, how would you categorize the objects in this image?
I would put all the ones with the black tops together and all the ones with the other tops together.
Okay. Sierra, did you have anything different of how you would categorize these objects?
I would put all the sparkly ones at the top.
Okay, all the sparkly at the top. What about you, Emily?
I was gonna say I'd separate like the sparkly ones from the plain ones.
Okay, all the sparkly from the plain. Good job. All right, now we're going to look at the next image. All right, so just take a second to look at this image. Look at the cute little puppies and think to yourself, what do you notice about this image? And then we'll go into our little discussion. Okay, so who would like to tell me what they noticed about this image?
I noticed they're all Chihuahuas, but some have long fur and some have short fur, and some are big Chihuahuas and some are little Chihuahuas.
Okay. Sierra, what about you? What did you notice?
Most of them have pointy ears, and then they're either wearing pink or red.
Okay. Michaela, what about you?
I noticed that one has a bow and then the other ones have beads or nothing on their neck.
Okay. Emma, what about you?
I noticed they're all different colors, and some are taller and some are shorter.
Okay, very good. So who can tell me, actually, we're going to do something different. So if you agree with this statement, I want you to clap your hands once. So is there more than 5 objects in this image? Okay, good job. Okay, so Emma, I'll ask you, are all of the objects in this image the same?
Yes.
They're all the same? Okay, what makes them the same?
Because they're all dogs.
Very good. Okay. Does anybody think any of the objects are different?
Yes.
Yes.
They look
okay.
different.
They look different. Very good. So they're all the same because they're dogs, but they all kind of look different. So they have some differences there. Good job. Let's see. Sierra, how would you categorize these objects? I don't want to call them objects. How would you categorize these dogs?
I would put I guess they're black and white, the darker ones on one side and then the lighter colored on another.
Good job. Okay, why would you decide to do it that way?
Because I guess you're separating them from color.
Okay.
So darker ones on that side.
All right, Michaela, what about you? How would you categorize the dogs?
I would also separate them by color, so going from the lightest to the darkest.
Okay. Why would you do that?
Because I think you look the best.
Okay. Emma, what about you?
I would do shortest hair to the longest hair.
Okay. Why would you do that?
Because if they're going to get their hair cut, the groomer needs to know where to start and what's going to be the most work.
That is some good thinking. I love that. All right. Emily, what about you?
I would separate them by boys and girls.
By boys and girls. Oh, why would you do that?
I don't know. So the girl doggies can play together and the boy dogs can play together.
That's good. Very good. You guys had some good thinking about that. Very good. Okay, so that's kind of the end of the teaching section. You guys did a good job. Thanks for playing first graders. So just I want to laugh for a second. Sorry, that was so fun. So when you're presenting this number routine to the class, like what I said was I would start by introducing the activity, and this would look something like, today we're going to practice a number routine. We're going to look at some images and talk about what we notice. And then I would go on to say, I'm going to put a few images on the board, and when I put the images on the board, you're going to take a minute or two to look at the image, really look at it, and think about how many objects are in the image, what they look like, are they similar or different, and then you're going to share your thoughts with a partner. And then after explaining, I would finish by saying something like, after talking with a partner, you'll share your partner's thoughts about it, and I'll ask you some questions. So that, and then some things I had for keeping students engaged would be to make sure the images I use revolve around their interests and things they enjoy. So this would be toy cars, Disney princesses, sports, favorite foods, all kinds of things, nail polish like we had our dogs. And then when students are sharing with a partner, if applicable, after each image, I would make sure they could change the partner they work with just so they have some different thinking that they're hearing from other people. And then I would also make sure to change the open-ended questions I ask for each image so it's not just repetitive and they know what's coming. And then with the situational questions, if a student is unable to respond, I would probably ask them well, what do you see in this image? What is the picture of? Do all the objects look the same? Is there a lot of objects? Is there a little bit of objects? Just some questions to get their brain moving and their thoughts rolling. If the student's response is incorrect or incomplete, I would probably say something like, let's think harder. What else do you notice about this image? Is there a lot of objects? How do you know that there's a lot? You said the objects all look the same. Can you explain your thinking? And that way they could, if they were to say, if it was a picture of a rainbow of nail polish in this case, if it was rainbow nail polish and they all look the same, they're all the same color, I'd be like, well, can you explain your thinking on that? And then hopefully by doing that, they would realize oh, they're not all the same color. And then sorry, it's not going to the next slide. If a student's response is correct and it's a good opportunity to pose an extension question, I would probably say something like, how did you think about this image? What was your thoughts, your initial thoughts, and how do you know that this is the answer? Or how would you explain your answer? And then some closing questions to bring out the goal of this number routine. I would say, do you feel confident about your ability to estimate the number of objects in an image? And what are some big ideas you created about these images or formed about these images? But yeah, so that's my presentation. I can figure out how to stop sharing my screen. But yeah, so that's what that one was. Thank you. Okay. Do you guys see my screen anymore?
Yeah. No, we can see that.
Perfect. Okay. Whoever's next may go.
I think it's me.
Oh, wait, one more thing. It said to include how you recorded the students' responses. I just wrote you guys what you said on a piece of paper and then just made notes. Emma said she would put all the black dots together. She would categorize the dogs with short hair to long hair because the groomer needs to know who to cut hair. So that's kind of what I did for recording it. But okay, go ahead, Michaela.
Okay, how do you share the screen? Sorry, I'm not.
At the top, there's a little on my screen, it has the option to leave, and the thing right beside that is an arrow going into the screen. If you click that, it should give you that option.
Yeah, mine's at the bottom, so it might be at the top or the bottom, depending on your
Okay.
device.
I think I have to go to system preferences. So 1 second.
You're good.
It's like beside the mic button and the 3 dots typically.
Thanks, guys. Wait, I'm so confused. I hope I'm not having technical difficulties.
Is your like computer asking you like to give permission or something?
Yes.
Okay. I had some girls earlier in my class, like this morning, had that happen. So, and I think she said like if she had to do that, she might have had to gone out of the meeting and come back in. But we have time if you need to do that, so you're good.
Let's see if it allows. I think this is it. Wait, is it doing it?
You see your screen, perfect.
Okay, so what do I do with this?
See if you can like click the like PowerPoint or like the document. Oh my goodness.
Yep.
There you go. It's behind
Okay.
the screen now.
Thank you. Sorry.
Welcome. It's okay, it happens.
Okay, so this is mine. It's called 3 of these things. And so what is 3 of these things, or which one doesn't belong? 3 of these things is an activity where you'll be shown a group of numbers, words, terms, objects, and you'll need to decide which one's different from the rest in some way. So once the grid of objects is up, pre-select, you'll have around 1 minute of silence to think like to your own thoughts and find your one thing that doesn't belong. And once you find it and come up with it, you'll be asked for a reason of why it doesn't belong. So the first grade standards and goals that I found were in C1 NBT.2. Understand that 2 digits of a 2-digit number represent amounts of tens and ones. Unitize by making a 10 from a collection of 10 ones. Model the numbers from 11 to 19 as composed of a 10 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 ones. Goals for this would be students will be able to find what doesn't belong in the group given, and we'll be able to explain why it doesn't belong. So 3 of these things, facilitation. I'm going to record y'all's responses on this piece. Oh, you can't see because my screen's recorded. I'm going to record your answers on a piece of paper that I have right here, and I will have you look over the first set of items. I'm going to give you 1 minute to think about what's different, and then you're going to share with your partner, which we don't really have a partner, so like Cameron said, just share out loud or I'll call on you about what you think is different, and then I'm going to have you elaborate on why you think it's different from the rest. So let's get started. So which of these does not or doesn't belong? There's a whole bunch of blocks, and they're separated, so like the first top left, then the bottom left, top right, bottom right. So I'm going to give you 1 minute to think about what's different, and then I'll call on you. Okay, does anybody want to share what they think doesn't belong?
I think the top right corner doesn't belong.
Okay, why do you think that?
All of the other groups have 14 cubes, but that group has 13 cubes.
Good job. Does anybody want to explain Emily's way of thinking?
When Emily looked at the image, she counted the cubes in each group and looked at the number of them and how many there were. So that's how she found out which one doesn't belong, because it didn't have the same number.
Okay, great job. Who wants to go next?
I think the bottom left doesn't belong because some are together and some are apart. But in the other groups, either they're all together or they're all apart.
Okay, I like what you said. Is there anything else you can add to it, or you're good?
I think I'm good.
Anybody else?
I'll say the top right group does not belong, because the top right group has 3 colors of cubes, but all the rest of the groups only have 2 colors of cubes.
That's a good observation. Okay, Sierra, do you have anything to say?
I was gonna say what Cameron said. That is what I found.
Okay. So you said what Cameron said. Okay, so we're out of teacher mode. 36 action. So my introduction statement would be, hello class, now that we all know how to count from 1 to 20, we're going to practice using blocks to represent those numbers. You'll be shown different images of blocks, either in tens or ones, and you'll have to determine what is different and explain why. We'll also be finding the difference between the images. And then, so for engaging them, I said that every student is asked to find a reason it's different and why, and this ensures they're engaged in the learning process, so they have to look, because it's not like a group effort, they have to look themselves and find their own answer. Wait time being added allows the students to prepare, to talk, and share their answers. Having the students share their answers ensures they're all engaged in the learning process. And talking with a partner has the students think ideas through with their peers before sharing, and they see other ways of thinking. Okay. So if the student is unable to respond, I would say, instead of looking for differences, can you list out some similarities? Or how could you start looking for differences? If their response is incorrect, I could say, can you point out where it's different than the rest? Or can you explain to me your answer and what made you pick that answer? For after the correct response, I could say, how did you get that answer? How might you explain this answer to others? Is there another solution to the problem you might not have thought of? And what relationships do you see between the items? And for closing questions, I could say, what reasoning can you give to support your answers? And then, like I said before, what are some relationships you noticed between the items? And that's all. Now, how do I do this? All right.
On next. Okay, you said it's the one with the arrow.
Yes.
Okay.
The one with the arrow going into the screen. I forgot I was muted, y'all. Sorry.
Oh, can you turn that on?
I don't see your screen yet, no.
You need permission to share your screen. I'm so sorry. It didn't work.
No.
Okay, I pressed it. Now it's security.
I had to press it twice and then it finally worked.
If it gives you like the options at the bottom of how you want to like share it, I think you have to click one if you haven't, and then like it'll let you do it if you hit share. That's what it had. That's what I had to do on my end.
Microsoft Whiteboard or freehand.
It's like desktop.
Yeah, I did desktop screen one.
Okay, hold on. It's not. Okay, I'm gonna try to get this. Okay, security and privacy. Okay. So screen recording. Okay. Allow apps to record content. It says later or quit now. I mean, I'm gonna have to go out and do that.
You might have to.
Okay, well, I guess I'll do that.
You're good. We have time, so you're good.
While she's gone, if y'all want, I know for mine, you guys are gonna need your own paper and pen, marker, whatever you want, because it's one where the student records.
Okay.
Good stewards of our time. And if you write a bubble 8 like this,
Draw a double 8. Is that what you said?
a bubble 8.
A bubble 8. Excuse me. Okay.
That way. Okay.
God, I thought I wasn't in it.
Is it letting you do it now, Sierra?
I clicked on it. Oh, there we go. Okay. And then you said click screen number 1?
Yeah, desktop screen number 1.
Okay. Oh, yeah, can y'all see my screen now?
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
Really cute picture.
Thanks. Can I move that? Okay.
Yeah, and like whenever you open your PowerPoint, it kind of like goes behind your PowerPoint.
Okay. Well, now y'all see my boyfriend. Okay. So I had ST Mysteries. I guess that's how you say it. I've never heard of this before, so this is really interesting to me. ST Mysteries are images that allow students to guess what number is represented in the image. And as students click through the images, clues are used to help students narrow down and use math concepts of what number is represented in each image. I literally could not find a standard that worked, so I chose this one because I thought it was close enough. It says read and write numerals and represent a number of objects within a numeral to 100. So I chose that one because looking at the objects, they have to choose a numeral to represent the object, so how many objects are in the cup or jar or whatever they're guessing. And it says, my goal is I want my students to be able to represent the number of objects. Can y'all see this? I didn't even press present.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You can see it though?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, you're good. We can see it.
I'm so sorry. But I want my students to be able to represent the number of objects with the numeral from 100. So my routine facilitation, I will first start off with an introduction to the class. I feel like that was self-explanatory, but I'll show the picture first with the objects in a cup, and then I will ask how many they think is in the cup, and then I'll record their answers, and then I will present the clues to find how many are in the cup and allow students to ask questions and use their strategies to find an answer based on the clues. And then I will ask what answer they came to and what strategy they used to find how many objects are in the cup. And then I would just record each student's answer on a piece of paper. So I'm going to give you the cup. I have the actual cup, but I figured I should do a picture. If you want to see the actual cup, I can bring it up, but just take a minute. Oh, I guess this is me teaching. Hello. Um, so just take a minute and look at the cup and guess how many little objects are in the cup, and then I will choose one of you, or you guys can just say whatever you want. Okay, so who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I think that there are 10 objects in the cup.
Okay, why do you think there are 10?
Well, when I was looking at the picture, I noticed that there was definitely more than 5, but I'm not sure if there's more than 10, so I went with 10 for my answer.
Okay. Emily, do you want to tell me how many you think are in there?
I think there's 13 because I tried to count the shapes.
Okay. Kayla, do you want to go?
12 because I counted some and then just added a few more.
Okay. And Emma.
I think there's 50 because I can't count all of them. So I know there's less than 100, but I don't know how many.
Okay. That was a good observation. All right. So next, I'm going to give you these 4 clues, and I will read them off to you. And I want you to use these 4 clues and try to figure out how many objects are in the cup. So the first clue is there are less than 30. Clue number 2, the number is odd. Clue number 3, the number does not include the digits 2, 5, and 7. Oh, dang, I wrote that wrong. Clue number 4, the number is more than 10. So just take a minute, and read through the clues and figure out how many objects are in the cup. Okay, so Michaela, how many do you think are in the cup?
I think there's 19.
There's how many?
19
Okay, how did you figure that out?
because it's less than 30. It's an odd number. It doesn't include 2, 5, or 7, and it's more than 10.
Okay. Good job. Cameron, how many do you think are in the cup?
I think that there's 13 objects in the cup because I know 13 is less than 30 and that it's an odd number, and it definitely does not have the numbers 2, 5, or 7 in it, and it's more than 10. So I think that's why there's 13.
Okay. Emily, how many do you think are in the cup?
I still think there's 13 because it's an odd number that's less than 30, and it has a 3 and a 1, not a 2, 5, or 7, and it's more than 10, and I counted 13 originally, so I think it's 13.
Okay. That's a good observation. Emma, how many do you think are in the cup?
19.
Why do you think that?
Because it's closer to 50 than 13 is.
Okay. All right. So that is the end of my lesson. There actually is 19, so good job.
Goodness. Definitely is.
I guess I was supposed to do this. No, is this after? Okay. So my routine introduction, I'll introduce this routine to my class by showing them an image and see if students can guess how many objects are in the picture by looking at it. And then I would add the clues to help them find the number of objects, which will help them label a number to each object. And then for student engagement, I feel like this can be done in groups or it can be done individually, but I kind of chose groups because I've actually seen this done before, and they did it as like a competition, like in the beginning of the math lesson. And so I said that I would keep our learners engaged by dividing them into groups, and they would work together using the clues to find the number of objects. And then I could do multiple sets of images so each group could get a prize at the end. Questions for certain situations. So if a student is unable to respond, I would say, what do you notice about the objects? And would you like me to reread the clues for you? For students' response incorrect or incomplete, I would do how did you get that answer? And what strategy did you use to find how many objects there are? And then for students' response is correct, I would do where did you start to figure out your answer? What strategy did you use? And can you model how you found your answer? So whether on paper would be a good way to model. And then for closing questions, I say, can you tell me about a strategy you used to find the number of objects and where did you know to start, or where did you know where to start? So yeah.
Good job. I used to like always be intimidated when like there would be moments like that in math where it was like, guess how many objects are in this cup, and I was like, I don't know.
Years old enough to don't know. Y'all are always nice. I've never an off the wall answer.
I know when you said 50, I was like, okay, I have to remember that she's acting like a first grade because I thought you were being serious. I was like, it's not really 50.
No, they were being too nice to you.
Yeah, when you said 50, I was like, oh crap, yeah, we were supposed to be first graders.
I was always kind of scared.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Sounds good.
Stars.
Oh,
Those are
no.
so cute.
Yeah, I got like stressed out while I was doing it, so that was my way of procrastinating. Hello. Come on. What just happened?
I was gonna do the fourth little thing as prime numbers, but I was like, nah, no, let me not do that because there's a ton of prime numbers between 10 and 20.
Okay. Why is this loading so slow? Come on. I am so sorry. This is
You're
taking
good,
forever.
girl. We got time.
Okay. So I had the quick image dot cards. I'm sure y'all know what that is. Like I remember doing that in school. So quick image dot cards are cards with dots arranged on them. As the teacher, you flash the card to the student, and the student has about 3 to 5 seconds to view the card, and then the student has to tell you how many dots are on the card. Here's an example of that. The standards I chose were NC.1.MBT.7, which is read and write numerals and represent a number of objects within a written numeral to 100. And I also chose NC.1.OA.8, which is determine the unknown whole number in an addition or subtraction equation involving 3 whole numbers. And I chose that because sometimes, like in the picture on the screen, the 2 groups are separated, so if they can like visualize that is a 5 and a 2, they can add it in their head and figure out that it is 7 dots on the cards. My goal for the students is I want my students to learn how to identify the number of objects in a group without having to count them individually. They should be able to visualize the amount and add together 2 groups if they are separated. So not facilitation. Facilitation of the routine. I will flash you the card with dots, and the dots are in 10 frames. You will have 3 to 5 seconds to get a visual of the dots. Then the following questions will be asked, depending. As the teacher, I will record answers to the questions as well as observations for future purposes and evaluation. So, I'm going to come back.
Oh,
Stop. Oh, gosh. What is happening? Stop sharing my screen. Okay. Because now I have. Can y'all see me now? Am I here?
No, I don't see you yet.
Oh, am I here? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'm gonna call on a person and then flash you a quick dot card, and you'll have 3 to 5 seconds to view the card, and I'll ask you a few questions. So, Cameron, I'm gonna show you a card, and it will be up for 3 to 5 seconds. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. How many did you see on the card?
I saw 5 dots on the card.
How did you know that so quickly?
Because I knew it was a 10 frame and half of it was filled. Ooh, that just sounds so weird when I said that. Half of it was filled, and I know that half of 10 is 5, so that's how I figured it out.
Did you need to count the dots?
I started counting at first, but then once I realized that half of it was filled, I could figure it out without counting.
All right, good job. Emma, I'm gonna flash you a card. You have 3 to 5 seconds to visualize it. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. How many did you see on the card?
7.
How did you know that so quickly?
Because only 3 of them were not dotted, so I knew that 10 minus 3 equaled 7.
Did you need to count the dots, or did you do it a different way?
No, I just counted the ones that were not dotted because
Good job.
there was more dots than not.
Good job. Okay. Sierra, I'm gonna show you a card. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
How many dots are on the card?
5.
How'd you know that?
Well, I started counting, and then I realized 2 at the top were missing, and then 3 at the bottom were missing. So I knew that that was half of 10, so there was 5.
Michaela, I'm going to show you a card. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, how many were on the card?
6.
How did you know that?
Because I saw 2 groups of 3. So I know 3 plus 3 is 6.
Okay, did you need to count, or did you solve it a different way?
No, I didn't need to count. I just solved it by adding the 2 groups I saw.
Okay, good job. All right, Teacher Emily's over. It's pretty straightforward. It's not a hard routine to do. Okay. Can you see my screen again?
Not right now. Oh, there we go.
Okay. So back to this. If it would load. Okay. So these were the cards I kind of base my cards off of. Introduction during class. The first time I use this routine, it will be with students one-on-one as like sort of a benchmark to gauge where they are with my goal before like using it in a lesson as a whole class. This way the students are, I meant to say not only familiar with the routine, but I put not familiar. But this way the students are familiar with the routine so it can be brought up into the class game that I'm going to discuss on the next slide. So for engagement, one thing I really like to do in like my lesson plans and stuff is like the games where you put something on a smart board and every student has a whiteboard and like writes their answer and flips it over, because it's a fast way to evaluate their thinking, and it's also like if you make it a game, they get really into it. I know I used to get really into it. So essentially I would do that. I would put a dot card on the board for a few seconds and take it away. probably with like a projector, and just like slide it under and slide it away. And then the students would have to write down how many dots they saw on their whiteboard. When I count down, I'll turn them around. I have the time to look around and see everyone's answers, and I will call on a few students to have them explain how they knew that. Questions for specific situations. If the student is unable to respond, I would ask, what is something that you noticed on the card? Would you like to see the card again? What are some ways you could figure out how many dots there are without counting them? For a student's response is incorrect or incomplete, I would ask, how did you get that answer? / can you explain your thinking? That way, maybe if they thought wrong, they'll like backtrack and realize they messed up. And I could also ask, what strategy did you use to figure out how many dots there are? Or what is a way that you could figure out how many dots there are? If the student's response is correct, and I'm going to ask an extension question, I could ask, how did you figure that out so fast, like I asked y'all? What is a way that you could use addition to figure out how many dots there are? The same could work for subtraction. Can you model or draw a picture of how you figure out how many dots there are? Or that could also be, can you model or draw a picture of what the card looked like so I can see how well they actually visualize the card? For closing questions, I could ask, can you draw a picture of what the card looked like? How did you know that there were that many if you did not have time to count? And what is another way you could figure out how many dots there are besides the strategy you used? And that's pretty much it. It's a pretty simple routine, not too hard. Trying to figure out how to stop sharing my screen again. Okay.
It's so awkward to see your face up there.
I know. Mine was up there earlier.
Like,
Hold on.
All right. I think it's my turn.
Emma Bess, finish it off.
All right. We're going to start out with Teacher Emma and then go back to not Teacher Emma and then go back to Teacher Emma again.
Okay. Oh my God, there I am again.
Okay. Oh, I gotta stop sharing real quick to go to Teacher Emma. Can we all see me?
No.
Okay. Oh, my camera's off. Maybe that's why. Okay, now can we all see me?
Yes.
So I need everyone to get out a blank sheet of paper. It can be notebook paper, it can be printer paper, whatever you have. And then you can get a marker, a pencil, a pen, anything you want. And then I need you to draw a bubble 8. So you just draw like this, and then 2 circles, and make it really big. And everyone give me a thumbs up when you're ready. Okay, was that everyone?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, now we're going to go back to sharing my screen. Teacher Emma's gone for a moment. So I had the number of the day routine. So what is number of the day? It is a routine that is an open exploration of a number. The students record different ways that this number can be shown. So what can be represented by it? Pictures, equations, models, whatever. Questions you can ask just like throughout the process is, can you make the given number in more than one way? How many different numbers can you use to create your number? Or can you use more than one operation to create your number sentence? What other kinds of numbers can you use in your equation? So these are not questions for the specific question or for the specific situations. These are just questions to be asking throughout. The standard I chose for first grade is NC 1 NBT 7. This is where students can read and write numerals and represent a number of objects with a written numeral to 100. So the number of the day corresponds with this standard because my goal is for students to be able to read and write the chosen number as well as know how to represent it in multiple ways. So how I would introduce, this is a model this is like a quick sketch that I did. So You would use a big, like the big poster board, or you could even do it on like a smart board or whatever you have, and you would make a bubble letter. I think that is best for the teacher to model this first, because it's not as simple as just like, what do you think? So choose a small number, such as 2, and have the students talk you through how to fill out the 2. So you can throw out some ideas like, oh, I know 2 circles represents 2. Then as the students complete single digits number and they can work towards double digits as the year progresses. So that way, you're starting out at a number that every student can understand, and then work your way up to like 82. To introduce it, you need to explain how important it is to understand the value of a number. That is more than a symbol, but it carries meaning and value. Talk about how the understanding numbers makes solving math problems easier, because we understand why in math, not just how, because it's so important to know, why does 8 plus 2 equal 10, not just, oh, it just does. So let's do it together. Teacher Emma is back. Can we all put on our thinking caps and our working caps? All right. So on your 8, I need you to write down all the different ways that you can show this number. So all the ways you can draw it, all your equations, pictures, anything else you can think of. I am going to give you guys until 9:23 to finish, or 9:24 to finish.
Writing's not that easy.
Eight apples, 8 trees, 8 tiny little buzzing bees, 8 tables, 8 chairs, 8 monkeys jumping over there, 8 candles,
1 more minute.
8 flames, 8 smiley happy dancing days, 8 farmers, 8 books, 8 very hungry sitting ducks, 8 chickens, 8 sheep, 8 frogs getting ready to leap.
All right. Let's all come back together, and can you guys show me what you have? It's okay if you're not finished. Miss Michaela, can you show me first?
Yep. All right. So, can you see it or no?
A little bit. Tell me about it.
10 minus 2, 8
Mhm.
times 1. I have 8 tally marks, 6 plus 2, 8 little circles, 4 plus 4, 8 single cubes, and then kind of like Emily's presentation, 8 filled in boxes, 16 divided by 2, and 4 times 2.
Awesome job, Miss Michaela. Give yourself a pat on the back. All right, Miss Cameron.
Okay, so I started with 2 groups of 4 dots at the top, because I know 4 plus 4 is 8. And then over here, I drew 12 circles and crossed out 8 of them. And then I had 6 plus 2 right here. And then I wanted to draw the 8 how I would draw it if I was writing. So that's how I did that one. For this one, I did a group of 6 and then 2, because I know that makes 8. And then I had 9 minus 1 and 5 plus 3. And then down here I had the 5 circles with the group of 3. And then for this one, I drew a 10 frame and filled in 8 of the squares.
Wow, Miss Cameron, you were doing very good thinking. Give yourself a pat on the back. Miss Emily.
I did 4 dots on top of 4 dots. I added 7 plus 1 and I drew 8 lines. I did 10 minus 2. I did 8 times 1. Can you see it? I did 8 tally marks. I did a number line that goes to 8. I made a clock, and the time on it is 8 o'clock. I did 5 plus 3. I did 8 stars in a line. I did 9 minus 1, and I did a 10 frame with 8 colored in.
Wow, Miss Emily, your thinking cap is on really good today. Give yourself a pat on the back. Miss Sierra.
I did. I don't know if you can see it. I did 8 blocks in a row. I drew an 8 this way, and then I did 2 times 4, 4 plus 4. I did 8. I did 4 circles and 4 boxes to represent 8. I did 10 minus 2, 3 plus 3 plus 2. Try to read 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, and then 4 plus 1 plus 3, and then I did 6 plus 2. I think that's it. Yeah.
Awesome job, Miss Sierra. Give yourself a pat on the back. Okay, teaching Emma's done. I hope you guys enjoyed that.
Yes, that was fun.
So when you review, so a big part of this is to review it with the class after. So the teacher should have a rough draft of a couple things that the students may not have guessed, like an octagon. In this grade, they probably are not going to know what an octagon is. So it's really cool to throw that up there, to throw the number 8 up there, to draw spider legs. There's 8 spider legs. And kids will be like, ooh, spiders, kind of just really get them involved in that way. You guys can see my screen, right? I did share it.
Yes, you're good.
Okay. So what you would do is you would have the rough draft kind of already up there. So when they start saying stuff, write their ideas up there in big colors, a different color than what you wrote in. So their work can be boom, pow, right there. To keep students engaged, I don't know if you guys noticed, I saw Michaela with me. There are number songs for so many numbers, and it's super cheesy. So for college students, we're okay, but for first grade, that's a song that you can be and they keep thinking 8, 8, 8, 8, and there's number songs for all so many different numbers. So find songs to play with it. Let this time be a time that students can use markers, color pens, colored pencils, because they typically have to just use pencils. So being able to use this kind of stuff, it makes it ooh, craft time. And then when students get a good handle on creating their personal number, let them start cutting out pictures out of magazines. This might take a moment more. So it's going to take some more time, but this way that they can really get involved and go through and see where are numbers in the real world. So where am I going to see this, 124? Where else am I going to see this? Keep the numbers growing with difficulty. You don't want to keep doing 8, 3. Do some more difficult numbers and allow when they keep getting more difficult, allow partner work. When completing it as a class, filling in the final product with your work and the class's work, be super excited and be oh my goodness, I didn't even know. I didn't even think about that. And just so much praise when they give good ideas. So for questions, if the student is unable to respond, you can say, when you hear this number, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? How can you show me this number if I don't know what it means? And then what does this number mean? Students' response is incorrect or incomplete. So you can ask them, can you show me how this represents the number of the day? Tell me why you put this as the representation. Now that you got this down, how can you continue to build on it to represent the number for today? Because that would be for the incomplete portion. If their student response is correct, say, can you show me how this represents the number of the day? Why did you choose for this for a representation? How can you represent this number with a word problem, which I forgot to do during my teaching, so I'm so sorry. Some closing questions that I actually want to ask all of you guys right now is, how does understanding what a number means help us in math? So that's something I think is a super important thing to think about. So does someone want to throw out an answer for that one?
It gives math meaning instead of just memorization.
I was going to say, it allows you to like find those different examples of what the number looks like how we did in your example. Like knowing what the number means and understanding that allowed me to know like 4 plus 4 is 8, 6 plus 2 is 8, like 9 minus 1 is 8, like different ways to find that number within math.
Yeah, one thing that I thought was really, really cool about this one was we teach kids like math facts and they memorize them. However, by doing this, they see, okay, 6 plus 2 equals 8 because 6 dots and 2 dots mean there's 8 dots. Like it kind of gives it more than just 6 plus 2 equals 8 because 6 plus 2 equals 8, but it like gives them a visual with it. And then another closing question is, what did you learn about the number that you did not realize before from your classmates? Because I think it was Emily was the, or Emily or Steve, no, I think it was Emily. She was the only one who drew a clock. And so that could be like a point where like, oh, like I didn't even realize that like numbers that we use in math are also numbers that we use to tell time and things like that. So that is number of the day.
Yay, that was really good, Emma.
Thank you. I forgot to ask questions.
It's okay. It happened. You did a good job with it though. Okay, so now are we on to like the guiding questions at the end of the document? Okay, and I assume, like we said, we all answer these and like we'll probably submit this at the end of the quiz.
That's what I'm
We
thinking,
don't have
right?
a quiz. We just have the midterm.
That's right. We don't have a quiz this week.
Oh, so would it not be posted? Here, let me read on.
It says to save the video of your small group meeting. You will be able to download the video file so it can be uploaded to GoReact in week 8 in order to support you in reflecting on your teacher practice.
Yeah, it doesn't. And it doesn't say anything in the midterm section about turning in this.
So I guess
Okay.
let's discuss it.
Yeah, so just discuss it, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I would think. So the
We have
first
to do it for each one though.
Okay, so do we just want to go like one like routine by one and answer it, or just like ask the question and what like does that look like? The person who did the number routine answers the question for that one?
Yeah, you can do that way.
Okay, cool. I'll start then since I was first. It says, what big ideas in math are brought out through this number routine? With mine, I think it would be like estimating is a really big idea that I can think of, because like you're looking at the image and having to think like, is there more than 100 in this? Is there less than 100? And then two, like a big idea would be like thinking about how you would categorize them and like how you can separate them into groups in different ways. So that's what I would say for the what do you notice?
For mine, I would probably say how you have to look at it more like not just so quickly. You have to look in depth to try to find something that's different. So it's not just something quick that you can do. It makes you like actually sit down and think about it.
For mine, I feel like estimation would be one of mine too, because they have to estimate how many are in the cup beforehand. And then another big idea would be I guess using the clues is another different form for that. Like I feel like it's a step by step, but it's clues. So they're using different things to help them figure out their own strategy. So they would be able to eliminate, oh, this doesn't work and this doesn't work, but maybe I can use this.
For mine, there could be like a few. In the example that I used with the 10 frames, it could be like part and part. Like if you see there's 2 not filled in, like how some of y'all were doing, that means there's 8 filled in, that kind of thing. But it could also be like addition and subtraction, or it could be like visualization.
For me, I think mine is really putting value on the number.
Mm-hmm.
So the learning the value of a number, just not the number.
Okay. What other questions could students benefit from being asked during this routine? Wait, let me read that again. What other questions could students benefit from being asked during this routine?
From being asked. So like, what other questions could you pose that students benefit from?
For mine would probably be like I don't know. That's kind of hard. Like, actually, can somebody else start with this one? I'm trying to think about it.
Yeah. For mine, something that could be asked for mine is how can what's something in reading class that has 2 in it? Oh, you're reading the story, or if say our number was 3 and they were reading 3 Little Pigs, they could put the 3 Little Pigs. So we could see if we can pull different lessons in from different classes, and that could be beneficial as well.
I think for mine, it could be asking them to explain somebody else's way of thinking, so then they're not just thinking of their own. And then you could also ask them what's another way they could think about it, or another solution to the problem. So then they're having to think out of their immediate response.
One thing I thought about was showing them a dot card, but having them come up with a problem to reflect what they visualized on the card, so that they have to think deeper about what the dots on the card mean, besides, oh, there's 4 dots on the card.
I feel like for mine, it would be explaining their thinking more in depth with using the clues, and maybe telling which clue helped them the best and which clue helped them the least. Because I feel like that kind of narrows down where their thinking really was at, because the clues are so different.
Okay, thank you guys for helping with that. I think for mine, since a lot of it is about is there more than 100 in this image? I could ask them how could you represent how many more or less there is with an equation. So that would be 100, or the image would be the image is less than 100 or greater than 100, I guess, is what I would say for that one. So
yeah. And that kind of rolls into the next question, which is how could this number routine be adapted to meet standards for other grade levels? And Cameron, that is a 2nd grade level, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I think I saw that one too.
Or maybe that was on 1st. I don't know, but that is something. So we had to do kindergarten and 2nd grade for each.
Okay, let me look at kindergarten really quick.
I know for my kindergarten, you can do CKMB 1, 2, and 3, and they're just talking about comparing objects. So then with that, that's how mine goes, because you have to compare the objects to find the differences.
Okay, for my kindergarten one, I just found one. It says, identify whether the number of objects within 10 in one group is greater than, less than, or equal to the number of objects in another group by using matching and counting strategies. So I guess that would be that one for the kindergarten. The 2nd grade one, let me see. It's a lot of them don't apply to that one, but let's see.
For 2nd grade, I could do NC2 and BT4, and it's also just comparing, but it's 3-digit numbers too.
Okay, I think I found one for mine. I think mine would be it's NC2 and MD10. Organize, represent, and interpret data with up to 4 categories. Draw a picture graph and a bar graph with a single unit scale to represent a data set. Solve simple, put together, take apart, and compare problems. That one, not really the problem part, but just instead of asking them I'm so sorry, how many how could you categorize these? I might could ask them how would you put these into 4 different categories? So, okay, sorry, next person.
Go ahead.
No, you're good. I'm still looking at this one.
For mine, I could do the NCKOA1, which is represent addition and subtraction within 10 using a variety of representations such as objects, fingers, mental images, drawing, sounds, blah, blah, blah. And so you could stay with numbers between 10 and have them do addition and subtraction in them. And then for 2nd grade, there's the NC2OA2, which is just to demonstrate fluency with addition and subtraction within 20 using mental strategy. So that would be a quick way for them to do it. and then you can even go up to within 100. And then NC2 NBT 7 is add and subtract within 1,000, relating the strategy to a written method using concrete models or drawings, strategies based on place values and things like that. So you can even do 1,000 and have them like do different things with that.
For my kindergarten standard, I could use NC.K.CC.3, which is write numbers from 0 to 20, represent a number of objects, with a written numeral 0 to 20, with 0 representing a count of no objects. So for this, essentially, I could just show them the dot card and they write down how many there are from 0 to 20. That one's pretty simple, but for my second grade, I said NC.2.OA.2, which is demonstrate fluency with addition and subtraction within 20 using mental strategies. I'm not really sure because personally I wouldn't use dot cards going into second grade because at that point you're starting to like use the 20s and all the way up to even 1,000, some of the standards say. So I feel like it's not really benefiting them much, but that's the one I found that was most closely related.
So for my kindergarten standard, I would do NC.K.CC.5, and it says count to answer how many. In the following situations, and the very last one, it says given 10 objects in scattered arrangement, identify how many. And then I thought that was good. And then given a number from 1 to 20, count out that many objects. I don't really know, to be completely honest, because none of these things fit. Because it's more of like adding or counting to 100 by ones, like none of these really kind of fit. And then second grade, I ain't got a clue. I really can't find one. I don't, because it's really just using clues, so it's not mentally adding or subtracting or doing like a certain type of problem. And that's what I feel like most of them are. I mean, I guess for the second grade, it said, or NC.2.OA.3, it says determine whether a group of objects within 20 has an uneven number of members. But I feel like that wouldn't work either.
Yeah.
I don't really know, to be completely honest. I guess that's something I'll have to ask.
Yeah. The next one says, like, how do you see this routine fitting in with daily math instruction? How often might the routine be done? Would it be a mini lesson or warm up? And would it be facilitated in a whole group or small group setting? For mine, I feel like it would probably be like something you would start at the beginning of the day or like at the end of the day as like a little fun activity. I probably would not do it every day. It probably would depend on like what we're talking about that week, how often we do it. And then definitely probably like a warm up or like an exit ticket type thing. And then I would do it most likely as a whole group since they kind of turn and talk to a partner in like a smaller group setting. So that would be what I would do for mine.
For mine, I would probably do the same. It wouldn't be that often in the classroom. It would probably be a warm-up or exit ticket, just like you said, because I don't think it's enough to be a whole lesson or even a mini lesson. And then I think I would do it probably in a whole group just so they can see the different points of view, like more than just 5 kids. Like they can see so many other points of views.
For mine, I wouldn't do it every day. And I feel like it could be either a whole group or small group. Either way, they could do it class or like when you're set up in centers or whatever you do it in small group setting. I feel like it could be done either way, but I definitely won't do it every day because I feel like it'll kind of get repetitive and like too much.
I said I wouldn't do it every day if it, like, I would use it more as like I said, like a benchmark to see where they're at. Like it wouldn't be like an often thing. It would kind of be more like a warm up on days when we were discussing things related to that. And with the like game I used, it could be whole group, but I would also consider doing like a small group setting, like individual. Like if we were doing math groups, like I pull a group to the side for like review kind of thing.
So I'm weird. I would actually probably do this every day in my class, like the number of the day. Especially in like a first grade class. I know it is like 15 minutes out of like class time, but I think it is super important for kids to get like an understanding of, and like with the number of the day, that's really what it is. So I would probably do that every day, and I would do it as a warm up, like in the morning if we had math first, like while you were coming in and like putting your book bags up, like you would just sit, to go ahead and sit down, and I'd have the number up and you would just copy it and do it on like whatever. So I would do it as a warm up, and I would have it be a small group setting at first, where like once we got into the bigger numbers, you can come in and like you can work with your partner or your group, and then we would come back together as a whole group to make one big class one. So I would do this every day, actually.
Yeah. No, I feel like yours definitely applies to that, because it makes me think too, like that kind of same concept applies to like in ELA, where you would do like letters of the day and stuff, like especially in kindergarten. Like it's
words of the day and sentences of the day and like problems of the day. Yeah.
Yeah, and it helps. Like yours is, I feel like yours is just different since it's the actual numbers, and they're like deepening their understanding every day within that. So
yeah. I definitely think that my routine was different from you guys's, in the sense of mine is definitely one that is an everyday.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because it would be gradually getting bigger as we were going on in the year. Like it would make sense.
And it would look different as it gets bigger, but like it could still be done in an everyday thing. So for sure. Okay. Well, I think that's it. If you guys are good about that. We all did a great job. I'm very proud of all of us. I think we did good.
All right, ladies, pat on the back.
Stuff on the back. Okay, well, I will see you guys.
Thank you. Whoever recorded, please send it in the group.
Yes, as soon as it sends to my email, I will send it to you guys. So
perfect. Thank
you. Be on the lookout.
So much. Y'all have a good night.
Bye.